As you say, the barn burner of the night.
Yeah,
That's what I feel.
co-main event. Yeah, that was a fight. Yeah, that was fight of the night.
That was a back and forth. It was. I'll just come out and say. I always say to beat the champ, you have to beat the champ.
Mm.
I say that to put pressure on the opponent. That's why I say it. I
Okay.
always say it because if you leave it to the judges and the judges don't select you, you have no one to blame but yourself. That's why I always say to beat you have to beat the champ.
You didn't think you beat him? I mean to cut you off.
It was a back and forth. I
Most
didn't
people
honestly.
most people thought
No, I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad, but after I saw it, I said to myself, I don't know who name they're gonna call.
yeah, that was in the air. That was in the air.
Yeah, I didn't know who name they was gonna call. That was a back and forth, and I won't be surprised if they have the immediate rematch.
Yeah. There's nobody else. There's
Yeah,
nobody else.
so
Yeah.
that was a goodie right there.
It was awesome. You know, this fight was crazy, and it goes to show you the talent in the MMA pool. This is the third time off the top of memory I'm seeing a guy that's beating a guy in another organization. Now the guy that lost, you know, has success in the UFC. This guy runs behind him. We've seen it with Pereira and Izzy.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this before with when Chuck Liddell was the man.
Okay.
They brought in Rampage. Chuck Liddell was knocking everything out. Knocked out Tito Ortiz, knocked out Randy Couture. Liddell was knocking everybody out. They said they brought this guy for the last. Who was the last guy Chuck Liddell lost to? Some guy in Pride years ago, Rampage Jackson. Brought him in. I think it was 2 rounds knockout. Knocked Liddell out, bro. We sitting there like, what?
Yeah.
It just, the MMA is just so vast. There's so many great fighters. You think the UFC got great fighters? There's great fighters all over MMA.
But yeah, one championship, like
yeah,
they're out there. They're out there. They're out there.
All over the place, bro. I mean, I feel that Moreno got exposed a little bit, though.
Oh, okay.
I will say that. I think
please expound.
His I've mentioned this before in regards to Moreno. His greatest attribute is also his greatest flaw. What we talking about before with
success?
The young lady that fought Amanda
Shevchenko.
No, the Mexican Aldana. What she said? Why did she say she was going to win that fight? Because I'm Mexican. Being from Mexico, a Mexican fighter, like they're traditionally a certain type of fighter. They come forward. They come forward. Straight warriors. You hit me, I gotta hit you back. I gotta get it back. Like even the greatest fighters are like that. Only a selective few aren't like that. Your Canelos. But you talk about when you talk about Mexican fighters, that's how they go. They come get it. And Moreno, in order to be a great champion, you can't be one way all the time. He's in there with a dude. This is the third time they fighting. He's in there with a dude where he can't match his intensity. You can't, so you have to do something. You have to make an adjustment. You have to, whether that's box, whether that's stay on the outside, whether it's to go for more takedown, whatever it is, you have to make an adjustment. And to me, Moreno wasn't able to do that successfully. Against Figueiredo, he was able to run through Figueiredo because Figueiredo could not match that intensity. The one matchup that Figueiredo really won is when he shot to the outside and boxed.
Yeah.
He shot, and Moreno couldn't really deal with that. That was the only time. The only time. He has to, if he's going to be a great fighter, he has to make those adjustments. You can't be.
So they got his number.
Yeah. And this dude can fight. It'll be interesting to see how far he goes. This dude can fight.
It'll be interesting to see how the rematch goes based on what you said. If Moreno doesn't make any adjustment, let's see if the second fight comes out the exact same way.
He can't beat this dude this way. This dude is he's like his
counterpart.
Or something. You know
you made a good point. It was really like watching a mirror beat his own reflection.
That's what I'm saying. And the mirror was stronger. Yo, bro, the first round I thought Moreno was finished. Yo, this dude
Yeah.
was hitting Moreno. Moreno is bloody, wobbling. I'm like, oh my. Shout out to Moreno. Now, I'm not knocking Moreno. Like, he went out like a champ.
Yeah.
He went out like a champ. He turned. I thought he was gonna be out until all of a sudden going into the second round. I thought Moreno was about to knock dude out.
Yeah.
It turned into that. But then as the fight wore on, this dude wasn't going anywhere. And you have to make those adjustments. In order to be a great champion, you cannot be one way. Yeah.
And that's what it looked like to me. And you're right. If Moreno doesn't make any adjustment, you're gonna see the exact same result in
Same result, bro. You done beat him 3 times.
no, exactly. Three
You
times.
done beat him three
It's 3-0.
times.
So let's see if Moreno can pull a Izzy.
Let's see.
Let's
Let's
see if Moreno
see.
can pull a Izzy. Let's see if he could dig down deep and pull that Izzy, man.
Maybe.
Speaking of Izzy, segues, and it's funny how we're saying speaking of Izzy when we refer to this bout, but his name definitely comes up when we refer to this bout.
Yeah.
Whittaker versus Du Plessis.
Whittaker versus Du Plessis. Oh
Now,
man,
it was surprising to many people, including myself. It was surprising to me in the fact that I thought that if Whittaker lost, it would have been at least by decision. I did not see him getting knocked out.
dominating like that.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, dominating. I mean, I think it was a good back and forth, but I just think that Du Plessis just had more. What I saw was kind of when I was talking about Volkanovski taking his time and waiting for his moment against Rodriguez. I kind of saw that in Du Plessis against Whittaker, bro. Like it was a back and forth, but I saw to me it was more patient than that. Was surprised me more his patience in taking apart Whittaker. Like the body shots, like that I really ripped it. Like he didn't go, and even he said it himself. He said that I was gonna go all out. But I remember that my gas tank is he just remembered that his last fight he didn't want to make the same mistake and out his gas tank, and he took his time. And so this is what I saw in Du Plessis. I want to get more to Du Plessis real quick, but let's just give Whittaker some attention. What do you think is next for Whittaker after this?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. On our Instagram page, I put a poll up on the story whether or not you think Whittaker's like it's over, like whether his era is over. Going into the fight, I lean towards Whittaker.
Okay.
From the perspective of, you know, I know what we get from Whittaker. Like we know he's been the champ. There's not a dude that's a gatekeeper in that sense. He's been the champ. Du Plessis, the question marks is almost like we used to say back in the day about the Spurs. The Spurs play here. If you're gonna be the champion, you have to play here. But just know that the Spurs are always going to play here. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna be great, you have to be over this. So Du Plessis proved that he's more than that. You know what I'm saying? That he can be great. By beating Whittaker, he's proven that. But I gotta say that I saw two things in the fight, and I think two things can be true sometimes.
Okay.
Du Plessis did really well, and they were saying something about Du Plessis as well in regards to he got something fixed in his nose to help his breathing.
Yeah, to help his breathing. Yeah, he got
that is a overlooked.
Great factor. No, it's not.
Be overlooked. He looked good. He started to overwhelm Whittaker. His constant movement, head movement, and his unorthodox. He's unorthodox not from the perspective of being left-handed. Like, because I know unorthodox can mean left-handed. He's unorthodox where, similar to Islam, he doesn't punch in rhythm. He doesn't do things in rhythm. So it's hard for guys to get a grasp when a punch is coming. He's kind of a little awkward with it, like, and comes off as sloppy.
Intentionally.
Yeah, that's by design. He's constantly moving. So even if you set him up with a feint, you don't really know what direction he's going in, and you don't know when his offense is coming. So that's things to look out for Izzy. Those are things that may give Izzy issues as well. So Du Plessis did good, but on the Whittaker side, there's something else, and I say two things could bring true. Whittaker, if you watch him, he looked like an old magician with old tricks,
Mm,
doing old stuff. Like, and to me, Du Plessis, it looked like he had the playbook.
gotcha.
High kick that he always, that sweeping high kick he always, it looked like
Yeah.
Whitaker when he fights, he dominates, he controls the action. Like he dominates and controls the action. Like even he's not even going at a fast pace, but he's in control. It looked like the fights was going like that early, but once Du Plessis kind of sift him out, he started to push him around a little bit. Like all of a sudden punches that was just missing started to land. Like and he started to, he just it looked like Du Plessis had like it just Whitaker looked like I don't want to say old, but predictable. It was
Mm.
kind of like that's what I read from it. Like he looked predictable, and then next thing you know, he was hittable. It went from predictable to hittable. Bro, it was a 3-round fight. At the end of the first round, he was on the floor. Like that fight could have been if Du Plessis would have really pressed it. Like he hit the floor, and Du Plessis kind of almost walked over to him, like really, like okay, like
And
really.
that goes to what the point I was trying to make where I saw the confidence in him with him taking his time instead of trying to rush the win.
Yeah, and I think it's a reflection on Whitaker. Maybe there's some complacency there. Maybe his time is up. Because now it's two people who keep.
Time's up completely or just time's up as a contender for the championship because he still always could be the gatekeeper.
I
As a
mean,
matter of fact,
I'm
he
gonna be
technically was
honest
the
with you.
gatekeeper at that fight for Du Plessis
I'm gonna be
before.
honest with you. To me personally, and this is not to knock anybody that still fights that's not in championship contention. I'm not really checking for. I mean, when I'm talking about the end of an era, I'm talking about competitively, like competitively
Gotcha. Okay.
as competing to be the guy,
Gotcha. Understood.
not the
Gotcha.
guy that's standing in the way of another
Of
guy.
another guy. Understood.
Yeah, because we
Understood.
were looking at this like, oh, Whitaker and Izzy 3. That's kind of that was kind of that. I don't think anybody saw this in that manner. I don't, you know.
So let's go into the highlight though. What happened after the bout when my man Izzy got up in there and he did what he does best, which is promote his next fight. This is what Izzy
Oh
does best.
man,
He promotes his next
man.
fight.
The promotion for this fight is gonna be crazy.
This
It's personal. Like you could tell it the things
is
that
well. Let's. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about what and to the people out there who don't know what the issue is? Basically, the beef started when Du Plessis basically said that he plans to be the first true African champ, meaning he was born in Africa.
right,
He's still in Africa. He's training in Africa.
right,
He's not gonna be like a Izzy who was born in Nigeria, left and moved to New
right.
Zealand, and that's where his MMA career started. Or Kara Usman, who isn't from Nigeria but is of Nigerian heritage, and really got his MMA start in wrestling in Nebraska, I believe.
States, yeah, States.
Yeah,
I remember
in the
which
United
one.
States. Yeah, United States. Even we don't make. I don't gotta put the Pacific, but in the United States, basically.
Yeah.
And he had friends in Ghana who left Cameroon to go to Europe, France, and that's where he got his start at.
Mm.
The point still remains. Out of those three guys who could have had who probably may have had who probably would have had a gripe to that comment. Lo and behold, by coincidence, the only one who really came with the forefront of that was the guy who would eventually challenge, who was in his actual weight division, the
Weight
185
right.
champ.
Yeah.
My man is. So basically, Iz was saying, how could this cracker tell me where I'm from? And I really need for him to win the next fight, so that I could, teach him a lesson to let him know, give him a history lesson. Here's my question to that. It's a two-parter.
Okay.
How do you feel about Du Plessis' comments? And do you think Izzy's response to it was genuine, or just attack to promote what he saw was his next fight?
That's a good question. Do I think what he said was fair about being a true African? That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. I'm not saying I
Why
agree
don't
with it.
you
I'm
agree with
saying
it?
no, I'm not saying I didn't say I did. I didn't. I'm not saying I
Well, I'm
agree.
asking you, how do you feel? Do you agree? That's the whole question's
Oh,
on
do
you.
I agree
The
with it?
problem
Oh
is,
no, I asked you. I thought you asked me if I had a problem with it.
no, no,
Oh,
no.
do
I
I
asked. Let
agree
me ask
with it?
again. What base I'm saying is, do you have an
Do I
issue with what Du
agree with
Plessis
it?
said? How do you feel about it? How do you feel, period, about it? Do you think what he said was right? Do you think it was out of terms? Do you think that he should have never said that? Matter of fact, do you think that he said what he said to promote what he see as a fight? Because he know that
I
he
think
needs
he
to get
definitely said it to promote a fight. I think he definitely. There's no other reason to say it. So I think, listen, he's trying to get a title fight. I'm pretty sure it was aimed at Izzy. I don't think
okay.
it was aimed. I don't think it was aimed at anybody else. He probably
That
tried to
being
keep it.
said,
Yeah, I think he was
that
aimed at
being
Izzy.
said, do you think Izzy understood that and responded the way he did to promote the fight himself, or was that how he genuinely feel about Du Plessis' comments?
I think he he genuinely feels that way. I do think that. I think he feels a way that it's coming from him. Yeah, when somebody questions that in public, yeah, I think it's ego. I do think it's ego. Like it's I think Du Plessis threw paint on the wall to see if it would stick, and it did. I think it is ego because you got to look at it for him to say that. Now, if they fight, I can't lose to him because then he
Yeah.
that's bragging rights, and the first bragging right that he's going to say is I'm the true first
Yeah.
champion from Africa. First thing he's gonna say. First thing he's gonna say. So it's already said. See, that's my thing about. There's certain things. Once you say things, you know, they say sticks and stones. Words mean something, whether you
Definitely
promote
do.
the fight or not. And there's some things you could say that could stick harder than other things. There's some things that. So trust me when I say the fact that he did move to New Zealand, they feel that. They feel that. So if this South African is basically saying, no, you got to think of it this way. If he stayed there, it would validate it. Not validate that that Izzy isn't African at all, but it would validate, yo, I'm Africa. I trained here, I lived here, I grew here, I breed here, like, and I won here, coming from
Yeah.
here. There's great things that come from here. Does Izzy train in Africa right now? No, he don't. None of them do. So I mean, it sticks because some of it is true. That's why it sticks.
Which part of it isn't true?
The fact that the stigma, because by saying that there's a back part, there's a stigma to it that would imply, that's not being said, that would imply that they're any less African. That's not true. I don't agree with that. But I do agree with the notion that, yo, he's just as African because he's from there.
You think that implication is there? So by him saying that he would be the first true African champ, he's implying that he is more, because it seems to me, because I'm putting out what I think, what I
Yeah.
think. I see these UFC guys interact with one another. The UFC to me is the real version of the WWE,
Mm.
meaning that the fights are real, nothing is scripted,
The promotion ain't though.
but the greats who know how to promote the fights, they understand that this is, like you said, the fight business,
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
So they need to say what they need to say to push the needle to get people to be interested in their fights, to watch their pay-per-views. It's not enough to knock someone out. You have to say, I'm gonna knock him out in 2 rounds so we can watch and see if you really knock him out in 2 rounds. Like
Mm.
you have to say something that would really grab our attention to want us to make us want to watch the fight, to push in a situation where you can't lose,
Mm.
supposedly. So I do believe Du Plessis was genius in his tactic of saying that he'll be the first true. He did what I say what people do with the truth. Like the truth to me is not good or bad. The truth is like a brick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's an objective object,
Mm.
and you could use that brick to build a house, or you could use that same brick to break a window. You know what I mean? You could either build or destroy with that brick. So you could weaponize the truth against someone. So he weaponized the truth of him being in Africa and training in Africa to, like you said, offend who he knew would be the next guy that he's aiming for. I totally believe that. It was a brilliant strategy. Now heading over to so and let me just address, but do I think he was implying that those guys are any less African? That's a good point. Do I think he implied? Because to me, I think he just, you know what I think he believed. I would give it an implication. 'Cause I believe he said what he said to leave everybody to make their own assumptions to what he thought he meant.
Same thing.
And same thing, you right?
Same thing.
Same thing. And
Because
Izzy,
you can always take off of that. You can always specify things.
yeah,
Let me know.
you can always clear it up, but he never clear. He just said, "Listen, I was born here and I trained here." But I think there's nothing wrong with what he said, and I believe Izzy is too smart not to know that this is a ploy to, like, it was aimed at him. Like,
Yeah.
so I think Izzy right now is in a situation where, because the three top guys who really know how to promote themselves in the UFC, Izzy, Conor, and Oliveira.
Oliveira?
Uh, the champ has a name. He's a superstar for a reason. You know what it is with these superstars? It may seem that we choose these superstars, but I believe they choose themselves, and they make us feel that we choosing them. But back to Izzy. I believe Izzy understands the game, obviously, and he's choosing to take that implication that we just spoke about and magnify it for the purpose of promoting the fight. And I think he's doing it on purpose. We've seen this time and time again when he tells somebody, "You don't like me and I don't like you." He does it all the time, and after the fight, let's hug it out. Like he understands the game. Izzy, I believe Izzy gets the game. He understands the game. He's playing a dangerous one though. I think he's playing a dangerous one though, but it's interesting as hell. But it is a dangerous one.
Dangerous in what way?
By Du Plessis made an implication, Izzy is doubling down and pulling out the race card. Listen, this cracker nigga, you want to be a nigga so bad? I'm gonna come on stage and call you a nigga. You want to be a nigga so bad? I'm gonna come on stage and call you a nigga, and dare you to say it back to me, or you can't you? Let's be real. That's what happened. He put himself in a situation where he can't lose because by saying because if he loses, you could say like, damn, if Du Plessis wants to call him nigga, he couldn't do nothing about it. That's the implication I got out of it. If you say, yo, what's good, my nigga, to promote the fight and you lose the fight, you're saying if Du Plessis wants to call you a nigga, Du Plessis,
right?
Remember when the leader up to the Conor Islam the leader up to the Conor Khabib fight, when the thing was Conor wanted to, like, let's talk, and Khabib was beat him saying, let's talk now, let's talk now. Could you imagine in that alternate universe where Du Plessis is pounding the crowd? Yeah, what's good now, nigga? What's good now? Like this is the position Izzy put himself in. You get what I'm saying?
I mean,
it is a dangerous game, but I love it.
You don't think he has to address that though?
What do you mean?
I mean, if somebody that's vying to be a contender comes out and says that, it don't just go away. Trust me, the media's gonna ask him about it.
We haven't said
that's what I'm saying, right? So if they're gonna fight each other, it has to be addressed. You think he's over pushing on that situation?
No, I don't think he's doing. Yo, listen. I always say whatever you got to do to promote the fight, full throttle it. I don't care. Put the gas to the what is it? Turn gas to the gas to the
pedal to the metal. Yeah.
Pedal to the metal. Yo, do what you gotta do. What I'm saying that the game he's playing, like, he's putting himself in a situation by putting he's up the ante. He is up the ante. When he was on the Hawaiian show, he said, "Who's this cracker?"
Yeah.
To deny my
right.
And Du Plessis didn't say none of that. But again, like you said, the implication was there, and Izzy took advantage of the implication and magnified it for this fight that he knew was gonna happen.
So you think Izzy's doing this for promotion? You don't think it's personal?
I don't think it's personal at all. I think Izzy's too smart to take it personal. Izzy is a masterful promoter. I think Izzy probably knew about him before we knew about him and saw him rising up. Like, you don't think Izzy is sitting back looking at the vision like, yo, who you think is next? I think he might be next. I think he might be in the come up. And he's watching these guys. Izzy seems like one of those guys that he lives and breathes and eats this. So he's watching these guys come up. So
That's
To me,
BS.
man, I
I'm trying to
saw,
think of what fights did he really promote. I mean, like hostility towards somebody. I mean, the Pereira was obvious. I mean, that's
bro,
not.
hostility. I mean, Izzy
Who's the other
is
guy? Paul Acosta, probably. Polio
Izzy
Acosta.
is an anti-hero, bro. Izzy does it all the time.
Usually, when a guy is a guy that's looking to promote the fight, they're like a repeat offender. Like they do it in every fight. It's an antic to like promote the fight. I don't get that from Izzy. I feel like he wears his. I feel like he kind of wears his emotion on his sleeve. Like if he doesn't like you, then like. But if he respects you, like you when he fought Robert Whitaker, like there wasn't a lot of animosity there. Even in neither fight, there was the dancing before the fight, but it wasn't animosity there. When he fought Cannonier, it wasn't animosity there. When he fought Acosta, there was animosity because Acosta was saying stuff like, but way before they even fought. They had beef like 3-4 fights before that even. I kind of feel like with Izzy, he kind of wears it. I feel like when they had the face to face him and Du Plessis, I think because he was drunk, it
Yeah, he
came
was
off
drunk
like it
too.
wasn't genuine. I kind of do think he feels away. That's my opinion. I kind of feel. I don't think Izzy is a. I think Izzy when there's animosity is because it's animosity, like because he doesn't carry like Conor and them. Every fight, it's something. Every fight, like it's no fight where it ain't no animosity. Taking the snatching the belt off of the table without it. Like Izzy is
But
not a repeater
that's his mental
offender.
game. But
Even
his
Izzy's not a repeater offender when it comes to that. When it comes to like drawing stuff up, if he's kind of genuine in his emotion, bro. I get that from him. I get it from him.
I
If he was
just
a master promoter, a John Jones thing, he wouldn't be shooting videos with the dude. He would still be wearing that, bro. Nah. You do that to the wheels fall off, bro.
no, no, okay, you made a good point.
I think people get caught in
Is
that
he called John Jones like a pathetic human being during the domestic abuse situation?
personally. That was personal. I kind of feel
Okay,
like they were
so no,
personally.
no, but this is my point though. If you genuinely feel that way, you don't create a video with him saying, "Yo, what's good, King? What's good, champ?" Once I think what switched with the John Jones situation is that Izzy saw that the chance of that fight was so minuscule, we might as well just be cool again. Because at this point, you got to move up to the heavyweight division. And I'm not saying that Izzy's afraid but of John Jones, but after seeing his performance against Cyril Gahn, Izzy's probably saying to himself, you know what, we might have to readjust this
So let me ask you something. Who threw the olive branch out first?
between Izzy and John Jones. John Jones did.
He did.
Definitely. He
All
definitely
right.
did.
Had John Jones said anything nice prior to Izzy? If you think this is my personal opinion.
Hmm.
If John Jones at any time would have threw an olive branch out, I think Izzy would have took it. That's my personal opinion, but I think it just kind of escalated, and with time,
I would say
it just
this.
cooled off.
I believe that if John Jones had offered a olive branch around the time when it feel like Izzy was really vibing for that fight, I believe that Izzy would have dismissed him publicly and said, you know, he offered me the because Izzy does this thing where at the very least he'll say this to you. He says, I respect him, but he doesn't like me. I don't like him.